Godzilla Earth is considered the most powerful version of the character by most people. After all, he's over 318 meters tall, 100,000 tons. An absolutely gigantic beast, so powerful that he dominated the Earth for 20,000 years. People like Dangerville are scared to even put him on lists compared to other versions of Godzilla. But could he possibly be overhyped? Or does he actually have feats to back up his hype, to back up this status? Is it possible Godzilla Earth is the strongest of all? Or is he an overrated chump? Today we find out. Hey guys, so I promised to do Godzilla Earth like a long time ago. I just never really got out to it. So today, we're actually going to scale him. Starting off, even when he first debuted, it was stated his atomic breath could wipe out a megalopolis, a super city, so powerful, in fact, that he could already destroy entire mountains, generating hundreds of megatons of TNT. The single blast, he blew up all of my hometown of Los Angeles in a flash of light. He was able to tank a nuclear assault so mighty it destroyed half of the United States, a feat that gets all the way into the island levels of territory, and it didn't even leave a scratch on him or his shield. That was with 150 nuclear bombs. Later on in canon, 2,000 nuclear bombs are exploded on him, so mighty that the entire Himalayan mountain range is dropped on his head. This doesn't even faze him either, considering he then proceeds to just eat magma and then laser his way out. Doing so was so powerful, the shockwave was able to shatter windows all the way back in North America from India. But that's not why you're here, is it? No. No, you're here for the big boy. 50-meter Earth is strong, but 300-meter Earth is a completely different animal. It's explained that every cell generates power in Godzilla Earth. This means that because he went from 50 meters and 10,000 tons to over 318 meters with the same proportions, this means that the square cube law would apply to his power, meaning at the very bare minimum, he would be over 260 times more powerful in his larger stage. So we have a bare minimum mountain level Godzilla, island level Godzilla, shooting all the way up to above country level, if not higher. Something more impressive than that is that Godzilla Earth, after charging up for 5 years, was able to completely obliterate Gorath, a 30-kilometer meteor with the mass of the moon, approaching at relativistic speeds with a red spiral ring. But I hear you say, well, that took 5 years. Clearly it doesn't see out of his normal stats. That'd be where you were wrong. Earth was able to battle and defeat Batra, who was also planning to destroy that same Gorath. In fact, the battle between them was quite fierce. Earth actually got wounded in the encounter. Dorsal clicks blasted off of him. This is why they then say in the film that it's known that Godzilla had impressive regeneration. He lost whole sections of his body and just regrew them over time. This feat calculates all the way up to dwarf star level, and makes sense considering a relativistic moon moving that fast would be dwarf star level anyway. And in fact, it scaled far higher than the kinetic energy. Considering Gorath vanished so quickly, some people didn't even believe it existed in the first place, even though it was predicted for years beforehand. But if it's a temporary power-up, I hear you saying, then how big Earth scaled to it? Well, that same initial multiplier was directly in reference to the Gorath feat when referring to Godzilla's power in the past. In fact, the destruction of Gorath was so impressive that the human race decided that not even Pluto would be safe from Earth's wrath. So mighty that he's then stated able to crush stars after this feat. And if you didn't believe that already, at the bare minimum, when he obtains his power-up called Scarlet Earth, he's stated to have been stronger than ever, while also emitting out an immense heat dome of several thousand degrees with gravitational vibrations. So already, Godzilla Earth is looking like at least dwarf star level, if not actually just star level, already. Mechagodzilla was built with the ability to fight the star level Godzilla, and was obliterated by a single blast of Earth later on. This is consistent with his power increasing over time, as stated later on, and even when he obliterated Mechagodzilla City later. There is no anti-feat from being completely eradicated by Void Ghidorah. Void Ghidorah is a higher dimensional creature, so powerful it can't even exist in this universe without erasing space-time in its presence. It generates a massive black hole by simply existing. And in fact, if you look closely in the scene, you can actually see multiple stars moving out of the way of this gargantuan creature. Now, since the laws of physics do not apply to Void Ghidorah at all, one could actually argue that you can do kinetic energy for such a feat. However, it would be important to know that even with that feat, scaling up to multi-galaxy level, Earth does not scale to this at all. He was unable to even touch Void Ghidorah because A, he was in a higher dimension, and his void could not be touched by physical beings, and B, he was so mighty he could simply just deny Godzilla's attempts to overpower him. However, what we do know is that his heads already have more mass than a black hole, verbatim. Yes, indeed. His heads are more massive than the Singularity and charged at Godzilla. He did not instantly crumble from the mass and force of something that massive crunching into him with massive bites and draining his energy. Of course, over time, he was draining away and being hauled back to the 4th dimension, or 5th dimension even. The fact he resisted so long is a testament to just how mighty he is. And if you don't believe that, then the end of this horrific one-sided stomp, when separated from the higher dimension, Void Ghidorah's heads were nerfed to a level below Godzilla Earth in attack power, but still able to survive numerous black holes that they created on Earth. These black holes are quite large, and calculating all the way up to solar system level. Earth blowing them the fuck up also calculates to solar system level, all the way into the Kilofo. For reference, this means that Godzilla Earth is actually more powerful than Super Perfect Cell's solar system destruction feat. And it stated he got even more powerful than ever, despite Void Ghidorah draining his energy. His adaptation is thus pretty actually impressive, unlike Shin's, for example. Once we covered power, and got Earth to solar system level, what about speed? Well, we know that in terms of walking speed, he walks at about 16 meters per second, which is complete trash. But his attack, particle beams move at or near the speed of light, and it's shown to actually work like a particle beam on multiple occasions, bending with a space-time curve, and reflecting up the nanoparticle mirrors of Mechagodzilla. And when powered up enough, it could actually pierce through a black hole, so you can imply it maybe even got faster than that. For combat, you can maybe scale him to it, at least by the end of the 3rd film, because Void Ghidorah is able to react to and grab onto the beam with his mouth after it was fired, and Earth was able to intercept Void Ghidorah, but of course he phased through since he's not a physical being like that. On top of this, Earth is actually quite haxy. So of course we have his radiation absorption, the ability to just absorb radio waves, radiation, and energy of other sorts. He gets stronger over time, he grows larger, he has his shield which should upscale his own atomic breath, since it generates the beam from the shield. He has regeneration that can regrow entire organs, as demonstrated during City on the Edge battle, where multiple dorsal plates are destroyed, as well as being impaled in the special organ that generates his bioelectricity. His atomic breath also has quite a few interesting properties. For example, it was able to nullify Gigan's regeneration, which was good enough to regrow entire limbs and even a head of the beast. And on top of this, is able to actually pierce and destroy a black hole, which as we know, can obliterate all matter at or below the atomic level, and will even consume all quantum states at some point in the universe. He has incredible resistance to gravity, since, well, he withstood Void Ghidorah's immense gravity pressure for quite a long time. His atomic breath's effects can generate an EMP. His plasma cutter can range for 600 meters. His atomic breath can blast for over 30 kilometers. And the red spiral ray can again possibly even hit Pluto. His super oscillatory wave is able to break down bonds on the molecular level and even cause gravitational vibrations. So, how does he compare to other titans of the Godzilla verse? Well, in terms of power, he actually compares to earlier in the Showa timeline. I'd say him versus Godzilla, say, during 1964 would actually be a pretty good fight. Of course, though, due to limited material, Earth is unable to truly get above even this. The Showa and Heisei timelines just present such absurd feats, blowing up entire gas giants with mere bombs, supernovas being tanked with ease, tanking black holes from outer space far larger than the ones that Earth actually scales to, interacting with fourth-dimensional beings, destroying the entire universe, etc. So Earth is in fact incredibly mighty, one of the stronger versions of the character to date, but he is not the strongest. However, he would definitely obliterate most versions from the newer era. Shin, Anime Ultima, Legendary, -1, etc. would all be obliterated. The only one you can possibly argue is above him is Gemstone Godzilla, who's just straighted outright to just have never before seen strength. So you could possibly upscale him from Earth, but if you don't accept that, then he is the strongest new generation Godzilla by far. Thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, all that. See you next time.